Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project. I have a very special return guest for today. It's Victoria Vredevoogd, and she is Miss Mesa 2025 and advocated for awareness and prevention of gender-based violence through her CSI, the Gender Violence Project. Outside of pageantry, Victoria is a law student at Arizona State University and is working at the Public Defender's Office this summer. Additionally, Victoria is an avid reader and writer and has published the fantasy romance novel A Legend of Golden Shadows. Well, Victoria, welcome back to the show. How are things?
Oh, things are wonderful, Adrian. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so happy to be here. Feels like ages. So much
It
has changed.
does.
Oh,
Well, why don't we start with how much has changed? Last time I was speaking to you, you weren't studying law for a start. So let's delve into that because I've been following your stories, your TikToks in particular, and it looks like have you gone insane yet? Or because it looks like you're on the verge of losing your sanity.
I have not gone insane yet, thankfully. I feel like you have to be a special breed to be able to handle law school. But no, honestly, I'm loving it. I really do. I'm one of those weird people that enjoys school. I like studying. I like going to class. I like reading cases. So it's been wonderful. It is definitely very hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's hard. And I use social media as a way to romanticize my law school experience and make it more fun, and I've been able to create a little niche with law school, and I've been able to get some paid partnerships and sponsorships from LSAT brands and law school, like little boutiques. And it's been really fun. And I'm just going to kind of keep riding it and keep posting. And it's been a wonderful journey so far. I'm really am loving it.
Were you always sort of interested in law and always sort of planning that this is what you would do, or did it sort of just come to you at some point over the last couple of years?
So, yes and no. Growing up, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life at all. I ended up changing my major in college 5 times. Ended up in a marketing. No, I'm serious. 5 times. I don't know how I graduated early, but I did. And I ended up getting my degree in marketing because I feel like that was kind of broad. It's been really helpful. I'm glad that I did. And but throughout college, my dad really wanted me to go to law school. It was his dream for me. He would say it almost every single day. You should go to law school. You'd be a great lawyer. You should, you know, take the LSAT, blah, blah, blah. Make sure your grades are good so you can apply. And it never felt like my dream. It felt like my dad's dream. And I know he meant it with the best of intentions. But I never really had a reason or purpose for going to law school besides making money. And there are many other careers that can make money that isn't law. And law is a big commitment. It's very expensive to go to law school. It is very difficult and taxing to go to law school. Um, and literally all I thought when I thought of lawyers was suits and business law and it really was. And I was like, is that really for me? Like, I want something that gives me purpose, something
Yeah.
that makes sense for me. And the only reason I'm going to law school right now is because you, Dad, you want me to. So I ended up not going. And I told my dad, no, I'm not going to law school. And that was right when I finished my book and I started working in the corporate marketing world, a corporate America job, 8 to 5. And I just was going through the motions. I didn't really have I wasn't marketing myself. I don't know. It wasn't bad, but it just felt like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But again, I still had no direction. And it wasn't until 2023, July 2023, I had just finished competing at USA National Miss, where I ended up being in a case of my own. I was a victim of gender based violence, victim of sexual assault, 2 counts of physical assault. not to get dark, also trigger warning if you're watching this or listening to this, we'll be mentioning assault and gender based violence, so listen carefully. So I ended up spending 8 hours at the police station the next day, a month with law enforcement and attorneys and victim advocates and detectives. And it was a very, very scary time in my life. And during my case, it ended up being dismissed. And I was angry and confused and beyond frustrated because why did I just go through all of that for nothing? Literally.
Mm.
And I felt like the people that were supposed to fight for me just gave up and I couldn't do anything about it because I didn't have any power to do so. So, quite literally, the next week, I said, okay, well, if no one's going to fight for me, I'll just fight for myself. And I bought an LSAT book and I started studying for the LSAT. And 2 months later, I took the LSAT. And I ended up being a late applicant to law school. I had no guidance. I'm a first generation law student. I don't have any lawyers in my family, no lawyer friends. I don't know what the heck I was doing. And I just let this sense of purpose guide me, knowing that there was something that needed to be changed in the system that I could advocate for. And this was it. I had that sense of purpose that I was craving. And I realized that there was more to law than just suits, that there is advocacy there for me. So I applied to ASU, had my interview, and I got in and I cried. It was like the best day ever. Believe it or not, fast forward, USA National Miss the next year, a year almost exactly from the date of my assault and the date of the arrest of my abuser was the day I got into law school, the day I got my admissions acceptance, which is like 3 weeks before law school started. Really crazy. So that is why that was the big change in my life, from almost like the complete 180 going to law school. And that's my story. It isn't something that I really share super publicly. Um, but it's my why. It's why I created the Gender Violence Project, and it's where I hope to see some advocacy and some change later on in my career in the system.
I had some inkling as to some of that story, certainly not all of it. And like I'm very happy you found your purpose. Obviously, not happy about how you found your purpose. And I've had some experience with lawyers, and the thing that really struck me is the law. Sometimes it's not about justice; it's about who has the deepest pockets, or it's about the execution of certain rules. And I left my legal case. We settled, but I was very upset at the end of it because I'd always had this idea that the court was somehow, or lawyers, or the legal side of things was about justice, about doing what's right. And I left feeling very much that that wasn't the case. I remember my lawyer at the time, I asked him a question, and he didn't even really give me an answer. He said, well, it will cost you, like, I think it was $30,000 or something. He said, it will cost you $30,000 to find out. And I felt very dismissed. I mean, in your case, it sounds like you had a very negative experience first up with the legal system, but you're turning it to something good. Can you just explain what? Because I think a lot of young women need to hear this, because unfortunately there is a lot of gender-based violence, and a lot of the time when women don't say anything about it, they're criticized for not saying anything about it. And then we hear stories like like yours, where you did say something about it, and yet it got dismissed. So it's like, well, why did I bother in the first place? But what was that period of your life like? Because I got to imagine it was pretty tumultuous.
Yeah, it was difficult because in a way I felt like no, it's hard because people believed me, but they didn't want to do anything about it. Like even my attorneys and the chief bureau of sex crimes over at the Maricopa County's attorney's office was like, I believe you, but I was like, but what? I had all of the evidence. I mean, I had the DNA kit. I had two confessions, a verbal and a written confession. I had bruised trigger warning. I had bruises on my neck. I mean, pictures of everything. What more do you need? And that was the most frustrating part for me, um, was because it felt like they just didn't want to. And that's
Yeah.
why it was dismissed for me. And sex crimes specifically, which is falls under gender-based violence, is one of the most undercriminalized, if not the most undercriminalized crime in the United States. And a big reason for that is that they're extremely hard to win.
Yeah.
They're like you have to have a very, very high burden of proof from the state to win a sex crimes case. And for me, since it didn't happen like at a place of work, this person didn't have many assets, like there wasn't as much on the table, I suppose. So there wasn't as much like going for the attorneys that could fight for my case, which is frustrating because another reason, like you mentioned before, why these crimes are so undercriminalized is also due to underreporting. And I always was like, why don't people say anything? Like, why don't you go and report that? Well, now I know why,
Yeah.
because nothing happens, and it makes you feel like, okay, am I crazy, am I stupid, like did I deserve this, is it my fault? And a lot of victim like own self victim blaming comes into situations like that
Mm.
where you feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't have put myself in that position, or maybe I shouldn't have trusted that person. But at the end of the day, would you say all that to a man who broke into your car and stole things from it? No. So why would you think that about a person who comes in and vandalizes your body? It's like we treat them differently. So to anybody who has or is going through a very similar situation as I had, which is many people who haven't never even admitted it out loud, know that it's not your fault. I went through a very long period where I thought that it was something that I had done. It was my fault. It's not. And I encourage you to report because I feel like the more reports there are, the more seriously the system takes it. But I also caution and warn you that cases of this kind are hard to try, and there is very high potential that you could be let down and disappointed. As much as I hate saying it, that's why I'm going to law school. I'm trying to change it, y'all.
Mm.
But that is the sad and harsh reality, which is the whole point of the GVP, is to raise awareness for this, the undercriminalization of gender-based violence, and how we can get more resources to bring justice to survivors across the U.S. and across the world too.
You mentioned, I have so many questions about this because it's a topic that obviously is hugely important. I think you mentioned that your lawyers or your attorney mentioned that the person involved didn't have many assets. So what was that part of and when you say that, does that mean, oh, that person doesn't have much that we can take him to court for, and therefore it's not worth it? Like, I'm just curious, looking back on it now, I mean, was there anything else that you could have done where it would have proceeded, or is it just a case like everything is stacked against you?
I don't know what else I could have done. And so does my detective was so wonderful. He completely agreed with me. He was so confused as to why my case was dropped. I'm so confused. And if you're listening, I'm coming for you when I graduate. Sorry, not speaking like crazy like that, but like I will get my moment in court if I have
Yeah.
to do it myself. But the reason why I bring up assets is because when I was so disappointed that nothing was solved criminally, I went the civil route too, and I tried to go do battery civilly, and that's where the assets don't come in. I mean, this person had nothing to their name really, so the attorneys aren't going to bother with a case like this where they're going to get no money from it. So unfortunately, I had nothing in either side, a criminal
Yeah.
or civil. I was just like, okay, and I just had to go back to everyday life while he walked around in the same city that I lived in. It's a very strange feeling and situation. to be in. But here we are. So, but in a way, I'm not saying I'm glad it happened to me at all, right? I wouldn't wish this on
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
But I like to think that God turned something so horrible as what had happened to me and the trauma that had happened to me and has turned it into something so wonderful. And I love law school. I love it. I don't know if I ever would have gone if this hadn't happened to me. I don't know. I seriously, I don't think my eyes would have been open to this type
Yeah.
of advocacy. And don't ever think something like this is going to happen to you until it does.
Yeah.
Um, so, would I go back in time and wish that never happened? Yes. But I'm choosing to take this and grave and turn it into a garden and make it something that's going to benefit me and change my life for the better. And that's all you can really do with a situation like that.
You give credit to God. I think also you deserve a lot of the credit because it's very easy when something like that happens to you. And I've not had anything like that happen to me. I've had similar things, but not nearly as bad as what you just described. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of courage to turn that into a positive of any sort. It's very easy to get bitter and resentful. And I'm sure you went through periods of anger. I mean, I'm angry on your behalf as it is. But again, it just sounds. I mean, have you given any thought to when you do finish with law school? Are you going to want to work in this specific area of law, if at all possible?
Mm-hmm. So originally, I did want to do criminal prosecution. That was what I thought I wanted to do when I first started law school. But like I said before, my eyes have opened and I do love learning about the law. And so now it's like this whole new world is open before me, and there's so many opportunities in the law to explore. And right now, I think I'm most interested in personal injury, which I would love to do, and I will do pro bono work for sexual assault survivors who want to pursue a civil action through personal injury. I don't know if I can do prosecution of sex crimes. I thought that I could. Now I'm working in criminal law right now over the summer in an internship. And it's hard to be in that type of environment. And I'm in capital crimes right now, so that's major felonies.
Yeah.
And so, you see some scary
Sure.
things.
Yeah.
So I don't have an answer for that. And my answer was a yes for sure. And now my answer is I think I would rather do like legislative changes
Hmm.
for that type of advocacy, um, and not necessarily be a prosecutor in sex crimes. So, but we'll see. I got 2 more years of law school, so we'll see where it takes me.
Yeah. I got to imagine it's extremely confronting being in the same room and hearing what some of those people have done.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, now that you are in law school, has your dad said, I told you so?
No, actually, no,
Okay.
and I think my case is probably a big reason for that. I know he's thrilled. He loves that I'm in law school, but he's never said the words "I told you so." And I think my dad, like, I don't think my dad wanted this to ever be the reason why I went to law school.
Yeah.
But I call him almost every single day after class, and I tell him what I learned. I'm like, "This is what I learned in torts today. Did you know that um, battery is intentional infliction of assault?" Or I don't even know the battery term anymore. That was last semester. Wait, or IEED is like intentional infliction of emotional distress, and you have to have this, this, and this. And he takes me out to lunch after every single final exam that I do. It's our tradition. And he's been so supportive. And my mom, too, of course. Both my parents have been so supportive of me in my law school journey. And I remember being so overwhelmed with final exams. I hadn't seen the light of day in like 5 weeks. I'm not even kidding. You work 16 hours a day, every single day, 5 weeks leading up to final exams. My room was a disaster. I was a disaster. Like my
Saw the TikTok.
nails, or yes, I had no nails. My roots were grown in. Like I was so pale. I was like Casper the ghost because I hadn't seen any light. And they came and they cleaned my room for me. They
Oh,
cleaned the whole apartment. And just as an act of love and support, saying, I can't help you study, but like we're here to support you. And just like the decluttering, it's very, very kind. And you need people like that to support you in law school, because it does get tough, but little things like that does make a difference. And I'm very, very grateful for them. Yes.
what what made you enjoy law so much? I mean, I've heard the joke that, if you the only reason people do law is they can't do math. I mean, obviously that's not the case. Although
Real.
I will say most of the people that I do know who do law can't do math to save their lives. But obviously, okay, so again, it's something about lawyers, they just can't do math. They're very good at charging a lot. They can do the math in that sense. I can tell you from having paid them. But obviously you found something about it that you really love. I mean, obviously your personal journey we've discussed, and you said you love reading and writing, which makes sense given that you're a published author. But was there anything about getting into law school and then beginning to study that surprised you as to how much you enjoyed it? Because you must enjoy it, otherwise you wouldn't be killing yourself lying
Yeah.
in bed at I don't know what hour making TikToks about your roots and no nails and Casper the Ghost.
A big reason why I enjoy law school is because I have gratitude for getting in. So when I first applied, I was waitlisted. I did not get in. I did not tell anybody that because I don't want people to think that I don't deserve to be there, because I do, and I proved that with my ranking in my class. But I didn't get in right away. I was waitlisted. I was a waitlister, and I had to fight for my spot in that school. And I would send continued letters of recommendation to the dean of admissions every single month. I was on the phone. Please let me come and talk to you. Please let me come in for an interview. They don't do interviews. I forced them to interview me. And I walked in. She finally said yes to having a meeting with me. And I sat down with her and I told her all the reasons why I would benefit her school. I told her I wanted to start the Gender Violence Project at ASU, which I did, third in the country after Harvard and University of Michigan, and why I would be a great attorney. And I give a lot of credit to pageantry for that, because pageantry taught me how to advocate for myself. It taught me how to interview. And I 1000% believe that that is the reason why I got accepted. 2% of people get off the wait list. I was one of them. And I got off the wait list just a few weeks before law school started, and my whole life changed like in an instant. I had to quit my job, buy the books, you know, change my schedule, figure out what the heck I was doing. So every day I walked into class, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm in law school. I didn't think I didn't think I was going to be here right now. Like I thought I was going to have to reapply, do the whole cycle all over again, because I did get admitted to another law school, which is KU, Kansas University, great school. When I went for admitted students weekend, I just had a feeling that this wasn't the place for me. Wonderful program, but I wanted ASU. That's where I wanted. I knew that Phoenix is where I was supposed to be, so I was willing to wait for it. But then I didn't need to. So you have like this sense of gratitude of being there, and that's what makes it exciting, because you feel like, oh my gosh, I did that. Like I belong here with all these really smart, intense, crazy people that have done all these like amazing things. And like it's a lot of imposter syndrome. I'm like, me, law school, wow. So that is why I enjoy it, and it's not because I think contracts is this fascinating subject, but it's because I get the opportunity to learn about contracts, and that's why. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that I was waitlisted, because it's helped shape my perception on law school, and it's helped give me a lot of gratitude to be here. So yeah.
It sounds like it was meant to be. All the things that needed to fall into place for this to happen. I was going to ask you whether you felt that pageantry helped sort of getting across the line, so to speak. So when you did get your face-to-face meeting or your online meeting with this person, did you go into full-on like pageant advocacy mode? I mean, did that kick in? It must have helped.
Absolutely, it kicked in. Absolutely. I mean, I was prepared. I had like the five things that I was supposed to talk about, and I wanted to get in there. She was not leaving that room until I said everything that I wanted to say. And we did meet face to face, and she was hard to crack. Let me tell you, the
Yeah,
first 30 minutes, I was like, this is not going well. This is not going well. And I was trying every angle, every story, I mean, and then once I got to the end of the interview, I saw her crack a little bit and I was like, I'm getting to her. She's getting to me. She's understanding me. She's seeing the vision that I have. And I think, when you're in a type of professional interview like that, especially when you're a dean of admissions, I know you can't really,
yeah,
show much emotion. Same with the pageant judge too. Um, but I even told her about my pageant experience and my interview and how that has helped me with my advocacy and how that has helped me with my community service. And she liked it apparently. 'Cause I got in. So yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
did you ever find out exactly what got you over the line?
It had to be that. It had to be that because that was the last thing that I had done. And I mean, it's not like my LSAT score changed. It's not like my GPA
Yeah,
changed.
yeah,
And I kept sending letters like, hello, don't forget about me, like on the wait list. And I think that having those, I mean, a lot of being a lawyer, especially if you're going to be a litigator, is being able to have those communication skills, being
yeah,
able to advocate. And an application, a paper application, you don't see that. You don't get to know if they're good at speaking or if they're good at
yeah.
arguing. And I was able to show them that. So that's what gave me that advantage in the admissions process that was able to get me off of the wait list that is very hard to get off of. So you have to do what you have to do in order to, like, you know what I mean? I was willing to do anything to get into this school. So if you're on the wait list and you're listening to this, just know it is possible to get off the wait list. I am proof of that.
It sounds like the pageant skills certainly came in handy because that's a good point. You said like you need to be able to articulate if you're in the courtroom, you need to be able to make an argument, construct an argument, and advocate for your client if that's the case. And I think pageantry really is one of the only sort of hobbies or sports where you'd really have to do that. Maybe debating is another one. I'm curious now that you're in law school and you're in your bed making these TikToks about not having seen the light of day for 5,000 years. Can you give any tips to people who might be about to enter their first year or their second semester, whatever it is? Any tips like how to survive? Because obviously it's tough. I mean, we know that. But is there any tips you can give people like this might make it a bit easier?
Okay, so I have some practical tips and then I have some mindset tips. So
Okay.
practical tips is try to treat it like a full-time job. It's very different from undergrad. You need to be able to wake up at a certain time, start studying, go to class, study more, and end the day. If you're too sporadic, you're going to fall behind. It's just very different from undergrad. So be wary of that. My mindfulness tip comes from the purpose aspect. It's if you don't have a passion or a reason to go to law school, it's going to suck. It's going to, if you, I'm serious, because it's hard. I mean, you don't get to hang out with your friends, you don't get to go out on the weekends, you're poor, you're broke, you don't have any money.
You're
Uh,
really selling this well, Victoria.
I mean that's the truth, and that's a reality check. That's why, like, I would honestly say, don't do it if it's just your
Yeah,
dad's dream. Don't do it. If you're
yeah.
doing it for your parents, don't do it. If you're doing it just for money, don't do it. There's lots of jobs that can make a lot of money. Find your reason why, and if you have that purpose and that sense of passion, I promise you will enjoy it. And it's a lot better than people say it is. And it's because those people did not have a purpose and a passion, but you will, and you will have a great time and you will learn so much and you will enjoy it.
You sold it very well. I'm only joking, but I think the purpose and passion, I mean, we talk about knowing your pageant why. And I don't think it's just in law school or pageantry either. I think in your life, you have to find some reason for being here, and that will get you up early, keep you up late. And, no matter how you get there, I think you have to find a way to find your purpose. You mentioned that you switched your major 5 times. Can you even remember, just out of interest, what the 5 majors were?
Yes, I can. And it's interesting because the major I started with was the one that I ended with. So I started out in marketing and advertising, and then I switched to graphic design, and then I switched to government, and then I switched to psychology, and then I switched back to marketing. And I graduated in 3 years, but then my counselor was like, hello, you're missing a credit actually. So I fake graduated basically, and I had to go back a semester. And I added on a professional writing and new media minor so I could get the one credit I was missing. But I'm glad I did that because I learned a lot about PR and media and strategies like that. And it was really helpful. So I am glad that I went back. But moral of the story is it is okay to not know what you want to do for the rest of your life, because
Yeah,
even when I graduated, I didn't want to do law school.
yeah,
Here I am. So, you'll figure it out. And I was so stressed and worried that I was like, I don't know what my purpose is in life. Like, I don't know what I want to do. And you know what? You'll figure it out. And your purpose might change as your
yeah,
life
yeah.
continues. Your passions are going to change as your life continues. And how exciting is that? Like, you have all of these new adventures that you haven't even experienced, that all these people who are going to change your life that you have yet to meet. And it's okay to worry a little bit, but just trust that life will lead you on the right paths where you're supposed to be, and you don't have to have it all figured out. Everybody's winging it, for real.
Absolutely. And I think in this day and age, that's even more so the case. I mean, you could be 50, 60, 70 and suddenly find yourself in a completely new career because that industry didn't exist 5 years ago.
Yep.
Um, it, I do think that you need to, because it sounds like you tried a lot, and we'll get on to some other things as well. Because I think in order to find your passion, because it sounds like you were struggling to find your life purpose, I do think you need to get out and try a lot of different things. Like go out and taste life. Because I think if you just sit at home eating Cheetos, watching Netflix, and thinking that purpose is somehow going to fall on your lap, I don't think it happens that way. And I
Mhm.
think also you need to get started because sometimes the
Yep.
purpose isn't exactly clear,
Mhm.
but you get an inkling, so you try it and you see what happens. And I think I bring this up because I think it's pertinent for yourself because obviously you have competed in pageants previously, you've done pageant coaching, and you're a published author as well. So I think you tried a lot of things and it's led you somehow to this point. But I do have to ask you, given how excruciatingly time poor you sound, what haven't you finished the sequel to your book and now you're entering another pageant? Like, do you just hate sleep that much?
What's crazy, Adrienne, is I get 12, or not 12. Oh my gosh. I get 8 hours
12 hours of sleep heard per week.
per week. No, I actually get 8 hours of sleep per day. I do try to prioritize sleep as much as I can. Um, I don't know. I think I did finish my book. I did finish my second book. I have not published it yet, and there's a few reasons for that. Maybe because things keep coming up in my life, and I keep pushing it back and pushing it back, pushing it back. But I love these things. I love writing, and I love competing in pageants, and I love coaching, and so it's worth being busy for me because I enjoy it. So it's not like the
Yeah,
busyness is like I have no work life balance. Like I'm so stressed and I hate everything. No, because I enjoy it and I love doing it. So it doesn't feel as, I mean, there can be times where it feels overwhelming, like with final exams,
yeah,
but
sure.
when it's not exams, it doesn't feel as overwhelming to me because it's fun. So I honestly forgot what the question was that you asked me, but yeah,
Cool.
that's my answer. That's how I keep busy. You know what? Going back to what you said about like exploring it and figuring things
Yeah.
out, I have a lot of friends and people who DM me who are interested in law school, and they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I don't know if this is what I want to do, or I hate my job, or I hate my
Mm.
relationship, or I hate being single. I'm like, okay, well then do something. Like five, four, three, two, one, go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and you, like, your soulmate is not going to jump into your lap. Like your partner is not going to jump into your lap. Your dream job isn't going to jump into your lap. Your passion isn't going to jump into your lap. You have to take the steps to go and find it, right? So, and that's like, if you want to change your major in college, now is the time. Now is the time. Try everything. Go all of the clubs. Do all of the extracurriculars. If you're out of school, go take a class at the community college. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I took my
Yeah.
creative writing class at the community college. I just signed up. I just took one class. I really enjoyed it. Go try out. Go to Run Club. You'll meet some people there. Maybe you'll find your partner at Run Club that you wouldn't have met them if you didn't get up and go. And I've been trying to really live by that because I was getting into that mindset, before I started law school. It's like I don't have my purpose. I don't
Yeah.
have a group of friends that I really like. Like I don't know what I want to do. Like cry me a river. Like that's why I was like, why am I sitting here because it was doing nothing for me. And it was my mom and my dad that brought it back to reality. Like they're like, okay, don't complain if you're not going to do something. And I know that everybody's life is different, everybody's situation is
Yeah.
different. Sometimes, you're stuck in a situation that you can't get out of. But for the things that you can control, even though it's so scary to go out on that first date, it sucks. First dates suck. Even though it is so scary to tell your parents that you want to change your major when they thought you were going to be an engineer for your whole life. Even though it's so scary, you'll regret not doing it. And the thing is, if it's terrible, you can always go back.
Mm.
You can always change your major back. Look at me. I went to marketing and then marketing. So it's okay. Just try it. Just try it. And you'll never know what happens if you don't try.
I think I agree with you on the dating part. I find dating excruciatingly exhausting because I feel everyone's pretending to be someone they're not. And it's just like, can we skip past this place and actually be real for a sec? So I agree with you on that one. It's interesting because I coached, obviously I've pageant coached a few people, and one of someone who became Miss World Australia described my coaching as a slap in the face, in a good way, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I always say with coaching, and I think this is the same with friendships, same parent and daughter relationship. Everyone has problems, and we can talk about them until we're blue in the face. But it always comes down to this point of, okay, got that. What are you going to do about it?
Yes.
And I think that's sometimes a part that people are not willing to confront. It's like they like talking about the problems. It's like, okay, what are you actually going to do about it? And sometimes, I don't know for you, I mean, for me, it's my mum who always just knows the exact thing to just, is it your mum or your dad? Like, mum just needs to say one thing. I'm like, suddenly, I don't need motivation. I'm doing this because she knows exactly, just how to turn that knife a little bit. For you, is it both or is it one over the other who just knows exactly what to say?
It's probably my mom a little bit more than my dad, but it's both. I mean, they're good at motivating me to go and do something. So, yeah.
Well, we should probably talk about pageantry somewhat
Let's do it. Let's do it.
at some point. So walk us through what it's feeling like this time. You're a seasoned pageant competitor yourself. You've done a lot of pageant coaching, and from what I've seen, your clients have done really great things. So what brings you back to, not to me, but what brings you back to the industry?
I don't know if I ever really left per
Oh,
se. I took a break, I suppose, even though I knew I was always going to come back to Miss America. I started in Miss America years and years and years and years and years ago when it was still the Outstanding Teen program back in 2014. So I knew I was going to make my way back here eventually, but with pageantry, my main focus this last year has really been with coaching, and that has been what's gotten me through law school, financially, being able to survive in that way. And I really love it. It is just a blast being able to connect with clients, and I love to be able to motivate them and mentor them, and I truly want them to win. And I would like to say I'm a little bit of a slap in the face type of coach too, and I like to warn my clients, I'm like, just so you know, this is my coaching style. So I don't want you to think that I don't like you or that I don't vibe with you. It's that I want you to win. So I'm going to give
Okay.
you all the tools I possibly can, get all of your money's worth so you can do the absolute best that you can. Um, Competing this year round has obviously been very different, especially since I've been in law school.
Yeah.
And your first year of law school is the hardest year. It's the most packed, busiest, stressful year.
Yeah.
So it's over now, which is great. But um, I've wanted to take this opportunity going into Miss Arizona to kind of dip my toes in the water, and step back into the Miss America program after being a competitor in the national pageants for the last 6-7 years, and to use this time to really hone and develop the Gender Balance Project, because that is a brand new initiative for me. I didn't have that back when I was doing UNM, so it's been fun being able to develop that. And something else that has been wonderful about Miss America is Arizona is not a very large pageant state. So when I would go and compete at national pageants, it's like me from Arizona, maybe like one or two other girls, and that's kind of it. So competing in Arizona for Miss Arizona, so fun to have girls that are local to me that are also
Yeah.
competing. I'm
Yeah.
just not used to it, and it's nice to be able to go to events and hang out with them and
Mm.
text each other and be like, "Oh, like, are you gonna be at the American Heart Association walk?" And I really enjoyed that aspect. I haven't had that in a very long time, and it's wonderful. And I'd highly recommend to anybody who's looking for that sisterhood component of pageantry, at least in Arizona. But the Miss America organization is really great with that.
Yeah. I love to hear that. I mean, because I feel very often the same way because I interview so many people and I talk to you guys, and like only maybe 10% of you actually live in Australia. Like everyone that I know is overseas. So sometimes you get that FOMO, like you wish you could attend. Because it's one thing to have an online sort of relationship and you DM every now and then. But I think for your own sanity, you do need people who are physically somewhere near you so you can
Right.
actually, support each other and whatnot. What are your plans with your gender based violence project? What are your specific plans with it? Are you advocating for a certain thing? Are you raising funds? Are you supporting a certain organization? Do you want to start your own non-profit? Where do you see yourself taking this?
So the Gender Violence Project is currently partnered with Arizona State University. So it is now an organization through ASU, and the GVP is a legal resource for victims. So
Right.
if you are a victim of gender-based violence, you can contact the Gender Violence Project at ASU, and they will give you the resources and the next steps for you if you do decide to report, what you need to do, who you need to contact. And then aside from that, it's also a student based initiative to raise that awareness for the undercriminalization of gender based violence crimes and what we can be doing to change the reporting numbers, right? 2% of rapists ever spend a night in jail. Just 2%. Mine was one of them, and he wasn't even convicted. So it's having the uncomfortable conversations that nobody wants to talk about. It is. It's an uncomfortable subject. And I think that's why we don't see much change with it. It's 'cause nobody wants to talk about it. And so that's what the GVP is all about. It is about supporting survivors, supporting victims, and also seeing legally, legislatively, how can we be making a change so this isn't as much of an issue as it is in today's society.
I know this is thinking too far ahead, but obviously you're competing for Miss Arizona. If you take that out, then Miss Arizona leads to Miss America. And
Yes.
there is more than a non zero chance that you walk away with one of the biggest crowns in the US. what would your plans be in terms of what you'd like to do if you had either or both crowns put on your head?
Oh, Miss America is, I mean, Miss America, I know you're from Australia, so feel like it's different for you to be able to relate to the Miss America crown. But like Miss America to me, I feel like is Miss Universe of the Philippines. It's like I would sit on the floor of my living room as a little girl and I would watch Miss America on the TV. And I wanted to be her. I wanted to be on the stage. I had like my little intro planned out already when I was 12 years old, and I had to make my mom watch it. And that's where my dream in pageantry started out. And of course, Miss America is it's the dream. I want to be Miss America. I'll say it. It's my dream to be Miss America. And with Miss America, in terms of advocacy, uh, since the GVP is the third in the nation after Harvard Law and University of Michigan, I would love to get that established into our top 50 law schools around the US, because it is a victim-based resource and there isn't one in every state. There isn't a place where victims can go to figure out what am I supposed to do now.
Yeah,
So that's really important to me because we're missing that. We don't have that. Um,
right.
and also in a way to be able to share my story on a national level too. I mean, 1 in 5 women have experienced something very similar to me, and it's not talked about like we just
Mm.
mentioned before. It's a taboo subject, and having Miss America be
Yeah,
able to speak on it can make change. It can turn
yeah,
heads. It can be like Miss America said what, and so the title of Miss America is almost even more meaningful to me now. It's like even I want it even more, if that's even possible. But it's also like I've been doing this for 12 years now. 12 years I've been in this industry, and I want to be Miss America someday. And you never know. Maybe it'll be me. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna try.
And can you remember? I don't remember if I asked you, what was your very first pageant experience and how did it happen?
So technically, my very first pageant experience was in this very very small pageant that I begged my mom to do because my mom did not allow me to compete in pageants. So I would draw pictures of me in dresses and leave it on her pillow at night, and with like Miss America. I'm not joking. I had Miss America picture of me on her pillow. I begged her for years. She finally said yes because one of her friends was doing a pageant. It was called Cinderella. I competed with one other girl, one, and I won. And I was like, it's meant to be. It is meant to be. I won my first pageant and against one person. This is the destiny. Like this is a sign. And I begged my mom to keep competing, and that's when I signed up when I was 13 years old for uh, Miss America's Outstanding Teen, so Miss Arizona's Outstanding Teen.
Yeah.
I competed for Miss Maricopa County's Outstanding Teen. I won, and I cried. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I won! I can't believe it!" And then I went to state, and I did not place. And I was like very humbled, and I was humbled again, and again, and again, and again for the next like 5 years. And my mom was like, "Why do you want to keep doing these things?" I was like, "Because I love them, mom. Like, please trust me, I'm gonna be Miss America someday, okay? Like, this is just prep time." And finally, in 2019, I don't know what happened. It's like a switch flipped in me where I believed that I could win. I believed that I was a good competitor. I like took it seriously. I got coaching. You want to do good in pageants? Go get a coach. Let me just put that out there. Coaching really changed the game for me. And that's when I was starting to do good. I mean, I placed top 5 in every national pageant I've ever competed in. So but I had very humble beginnings. I had very
Yeah.
humble beginnings. I had to work and train and learn and figure out, what am I doing wrong? Like, what do I need to work on? And it's all prepared me and shaped who I am today. And I'm happy for it. But I did start out Miss America, and now I'm back over a decade later. Here we are. It's time for my return.
I wonder how your journey would have turned out differently if you'd competed in that first pageant against that one other girl and you hadn't won. I wonder if we'd be having this discussion now.
My mom would have been like, "Absolutely not. You're done." Probably. Like, that's a really good point. I've never thought about that. Who knows? Because I lost so many times after that. I mean, you lose so much more than you win
Yeah,
in pageantry, except the wins that you get in your everyday life, like your careers and your dream schools and, education and all of the other wonderful things that pageantry helps you with. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Maybe I wouldn't be here today. Maybe I wouldn't even be in law school because I wouldn't have had the tools and the skills
mm,
to
yeah.
to get it without pageantry. Hmm.
It also sounds like you're really good at convincing people that your way is the right way. It sounds like you convinced your mum by very subtly leaving pictures of Miss America on her pillow, and you convinced the dean or whoever it was to let you in. So it sounds like you're the sort of person who doesn't take no for an answer, and you're very good at whittling them down, wearing them down until they come to the Victoria Vredevoogd way of thinking.
No, 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 no. I wouldn't
No,
say that. I mean, I don't like. I don't, it's different because I don't want to convince other people what they think. So those were all things that had to do with my life, my dreams,
mm,
my aspirations. Right? They never affected anybody else. Like, I wanted to do pageants for myself, so I was going to do everything I could to be able to get there, which was convince my mom to let me do it. And for law school, that was my dream, my aspirations, my motivation. I was going to do everything I could to get there, which included sending a million emails and trying to get an interview. But like, I'm never going to try and like convince someone to do something just because I want them to do it, right? For whatever benefit. I don't like that, Adrian.
oh, I was saying it from that point of view. Like if you want something for yourself, I'm not saying you're going to convince someone to jump or something like that. But it sounds like when you need to be, you're very convincing and very persistent, which I think is a good thing. Just circling back to coaching for a second, what makes a good coach? Like what should pageant girls look for in a coach?
A coach that believes in you, roots for you, and actually is invested in you. So with my clients, I'm very invested. If you're one of my girls, you're one of my girls. You can text me anytime. You can FaceTime me anytime. You can reach me anytime. You need to be able to find a coach that you can trust, who is actually going to give you all the tools and doesn't have like her girls that she thinks is going to win. And
Yeah,
then we'll have you and, give you, the mock interview basic feedback because you paid for the session.
yeah,
And that can be hard to find because, there's some coaches that have hundreds and hundreds of girls, you know what I mean, which is amazing and great for their business. But try different coaches out, right?
yeah,
Don't just go to whoever the national sponsor is and be like, I have to coach with them or else I won't win.
yeah.
No, you will win if you're meant to win. Like, but if you coach with someone, and you're like, I don't know, that's okay. You're not going to click with everybody. Try somebody else. Try somebody else, and you'll find a coach that clicks with you and that is a friend in a way,
Yep.
and that's a coach that you should be looking for.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you said that, try different coaches because I've come across a lot of coaches, both in pageantry and tennis coaching, who insist that you only learn from them. In fact, I had an example in the UK where they enforced it with a clause in their coaching that you could only go to them for coaching. And I was like, I'm sure that's not legal, but I think if any, and the point you made about some coaches do play favorites, unfortunately, I've witnessed that firsthand from a very well-known coach. So I think you really do need to find someone who's in your corner, and the only way to do that is by trying a few different ones. Just before we move to the close, because Angela Kuntz, I know you know her, and she interviewed me the other day, and she
I watched.
mentioned you. Oh,
Yeah.
she mentioned you because she said you have, in terms of stage presence, you have like the greatest switch that she's ever seen in terms of turning it on stage. So can you give people any hints or tips? And obviously, if they want to learn that, they can engage you for coaching. But what's the secret to just turning it on stage? Because I have in my mind, Victoria, that's still that black feathered outfit that you had that was inspired by your book. I still have that walk in my head. So what's the secret to making a bit of an entrance?
Oh, that's a great question. I do love walking coaching. So if you want to learn some walking tips, I would love to coach you and help you perfect that walk. That's my expertise. Um, in terms of turning it on, that kind of goes back to when I made that switch in 2019, and
Yeah.
what changed for me um, was my belief in myself. So when I go out onto the stage for runway or gown, and I do my routine, when you see the change in my persona and how I hold myself, it's because I am visualizing myself as the winner. I'm visualizing myself as Miss Universe and how a Miss Universe would walk, how a Miss Universe would handle the stage. And I embrace that, and I have that confidence turn on when I'm on stage because I visualize it. I almost can like see myself walking from another point of view as I walk. Really, I don't know if I'm explaining that good, but that's a great mindset change, is just to visualize whatever pageant you're competing in, right? So if you're competing, at International Junior Miss, or at Miss Earth or Miss World or Miss Universe, visualize yourself as Miss Earth, Miss World, Miss Universe, International Junior Miss, USA National Miss, wherever it is you're competing. And you might see a big change.
Good to me. So if they want to take you on as a coach, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is you can either send me a DM on Instagram. My username is Victoria.V like Victor, RED like David, EV like Victor, OOG like George, D like David, Victoria.Vredevoogd. You can DM me on there. My Calendly is also in my bio. You can book through there, or you can email me, same as my username, Victoria.Vredevoogd@gmail.com, if you have any other questions and would like to book through there. But it's summertime, so my openings are, or I have more openings because I'm not in class, and I know it's pageant season, so it's not too late to like book a last minute session, tweak up your walking. And I'm here for you, and I'd love to work with you. So yeah, always here if you ever have any questions or you want to book. Thank you, Adrian.
That link below, because I give about the same chance you had at getting off the waiting list. I give the same chance as someone being able to spell your name. So I will put I will put the link below. Do you want to just quickly tell people where that name comes from? Because it's a very unusual name, your surname anyway.
Yeah. So it is Dutch. It's a Dutch last name, Vredevoogd. It's phonetically, Adrian, you always say it perfectly. But for those wondering, when you look at it, you're like, what are these random letters? A great way to remember how to pronounce it is Vray, Vray, which is not how it's spelled, but Vray, duh, and then Vogue, like the magazine,
Yeah.
Vredevoogd. And it actually means bringer of peace in Dutch. And I love that
Oh,
about my last name. And if I ever get married, I'm never changing my last name because my name is my name is like a part of who I am. Like, and especially since I'm published now and I have work with my name on
yeah.
it, it's like,
Yeah.
change it. So sorry to my future husband. Hopefully he doesn't mind. I don't think he will. And he can always take my last name if he wants it. But good
Could
luck to
you?
hyphenating.
I
Let's
was
just
gonna say, can you imagine hyphenating your name? It'd be the world's longest. It wouldn't fit on the book cover. It'd be like the entire book cover would be your name.
yeah. So
That
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yep, yep, yep. But that's my last name. So I've learned. I used to hate it when I was younger for that reason because nobody could pronounce it right. Everybody misspelled it. I was like, I can't wait to get married and change my last name. I'm sick of this. And now I love it. And now
Yeah.
I love it. Hmm.
Yeah, no, I vote to keep it. I think it's like one of the coolest names I've seen, and the VV I think is very cool as well. So
Thank
keep it.
you.
I wouldn't hyphenate it because there's not enough time in the world to be writing that every time you have to sign your name.
Yeah.
That would be excruciating. Anyway, just before we get to the final 10, is there anyone this time around that you'd like to say thank you to or give a shout out to for supporting you along your journey? Because it's been a journey since I last spoke to you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to thank you first and foremost. You have been a supporter of me for many, many years. And I'm always grateful for your comments and your random messages and DMs, just checking in on me and making sure I'm okay. And continuing to support me through my book career, as well as my pageant career. So I'm very appreciative of that. And I'm excited to see your book come out on, oh, wait, am I supposed to say that? Oh my gosh, I
Oh
don't know if
yeah,
I.
yeah. It's too late now.
Sorry.
No,
Oh,
it's not a secret, but I'm in the middle of writing it. It's
my
okay.
bad. My bad. What book? I don't know where that came from. Anyways,
Moving
I
along.
moving along. I want to thank my family, my parents, my brothers, my friends, my pageant sisters. I mean, I'm very blessed and lucky. I almost don't even want to give out specific shout outs
Yeah.
because I don't want anybody to feel left out in the sense where I am truly very blessed to have incredible people in my corner who support me, and you all know who you are, and I hope I thank you as a lot, and I should thank you more probably. So just thank you to everybody, and also people who are supporting me on my social media journey, and as I try to build that up. Thank you for that. Every like, comment, share, it does help, and I always appreciate you when you support me online. And I'm just grateful for all of you. And thank you.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't understand. You are so well spoken, so sweet, so nice, so kind, as is Bailey Guy, your friend. And just the fact that you two didn't talk to each other. If you guys don't know, Bailey told the story about how her and Victoria met and how they were at the same pageant and they didn't speak to each other for the entire pageant for whatever reason. And
And we are
I just,
neighbors. Oh,
yeah,
tell.
like it's such a weird, it's such a weird story. I guess it was meant to be. Anyway, what ice cream flavor was it that brought you two together? The Peace Bringer.
Cookies and cream. Cookies and cream. Oreo cookies and cream, and it's still my favorite flavor. But we went down. So for those of you who don't know the story yet, Bailey Guy, she is competing for Miss Tennessee. She is my really good pageant friend. We were both competing for National American Miss Teen back in 2020, and our hotel rooms were literally like this, like across the hall from one another. And we just did not hang out the entire week. I knew she was right there, and like sometimes we would walk to rehearsals, but like we
Yep.
just like I don't know what the reason for that is. I mean, I knew she was a competitor. She knew I was a competitor, and we were both in the top five. We both did not win, and we are both disappointed. We were just like in our rooms, debriefing with our moms, and I was sitting there with my mom, like so disappointed because the year before I was runner up, and I just had these expectations to win. Let me tell you, that changed my brain set on expectations to winning, and I've never gone through that again because you can't expect to win
Yeah.
ever. Um, but anyways, I heard this knock on the door. I'm like, who is knocking on my door right now? And I'm like, open it up, and it's Bailey. She's like in her pajamas. And she's like, hello, would you like to get ice cream with me? And I looked at my mom, and I was like, yes. And I put my pajamas on, and we had like crazy ratted hair, just this horrendous spray tan that's like a week old. And we go down, and like the ice cream place is closed, so we have to go to this mini grocery mart and get like the cartons, and we go back to her hotel room and we hang out for like an hour, 2 hours. We talk about like our first kiss stories, like like teenage girl. We were teenage girls at that point. Just like cute teenage girl fun stuff. And let me tell you, that was my favorite part about the whole pageant, was that moment that I spent with Bailey, and she turned into a forever friend and sister for me. And that's what I mean when we went back and we were talking about, go for it. Like,
Yeah,
if you're struggling with finding friends, go make the friends. And it was Bailey who
yeah.
made the first step and who chose to walk over and knock on my door. And it's because she, got out the nerves to go and, want to get ice cream with me, that we're now really close and we're really good friends. And I'm grateful for her to that. So thank you, Bailey, for asking me to get ice cream. So
It's
yeah.
funny. She neglected to mention the pajama part. So I mean, this story just gets better and better. It's funny also when you said what she said. I can almost hear Bailey saying that. You almost did like a Bailey impression, which was quite funny. Well, it's meant to be then. If that's the way it happened. Anyway, let's go through the final 10. I honestly can't remember what you answered last time, so we can then watch back the previous one and see if any of the answers are the same.
Oh,
But we'll
oh,
see.
okay. Let's do it.
All right. So number one, what is your favorite word?
Oh my favorite word. I don't remember what I said last time. Ooh, I have a new word. My new favorite word is tort, because nobody knows what that word is, and neither did I. That is a law school subject. Tort is a civil wrong. That is what tort means. And I remember I walked into my torts class first day of law school having no clue what tort meant, and I sat in on torts. The name of the class is torts, and I had no idea what that word was. And I was just like ready to learn. And now I'm going to do personal injury most likely, and that falls under torts. So that's my favorite word.
Isn't isn't tort also like a form of cake? And
Tarts.
no, no, like an apple tort. I'm sure. I
Maybe
need to
that's
look
what
this up.
I don't know. I've never heard of an apple tort.
If I find one, I'll send you one. Number two, what is your least favorite word?
Oh, oh, you know what? This is gonna be funny. My mom's gonna laugh. Moist. Everybody say that. I actually don't mind the word moist. I like a moist cake. I don't have a least.
Exactly.
I don't have a
Okay.
least word. I love all words. I'm a writer. I like to use every word possible in the world when I write. So no, no, no bad words.
Perfect. I can hear the cat.
Yep.
I
Armor.
love cat. I love cats. They just need attention. Number three in life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Learning. I love to learn. I was one of those people that would like try to fall asleep, and then I had a random question like, what was George Washington's middle name? And I would be like, I have to know. I don't know. I don't even remember. But that's just an example. And I would wake up and I'd like go on Google and be like, what is this? And I would like fall down the research rabbit holes. And I love learning. Something else that really makes me excited is time with friends, intentional time with friends. I like to go to events and go to parties and go out and have board game nights and really spend time in community. And I love to meet new people that way. And that's a big part of my life that I really do enjoy.
What turns you off?
People who complain, and I'm guilty of that too, for sure. But people who complain and then don't do anything, like we said, like, oh, book recommendation for everybody listening. The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins is wonderful. It talks about letting go of things that you can't control, right? So if you're going to complain about somebody that is being really loud and obnoxious on the phone on the seat next to you on the airplane, and you can't, you're trying to relax, you're trying to get ready, and all you can hear is just them talking, and you complain about it, like you're texting your mom, you're like, this person next to me is so loud and they're so inconsiderate and disrespectful, but you don't say, hey, is it okay if you put your headphones in? I just want to relax on this flight. But you don't do that. So you complain about it. So
Yeah.
if you don't take steps to mitigate the situation, don't complain. I was a big thing I learned from that book. And let me tell you, it is life changing. It has changed my life having that perspective. And if they don't do anything and they don't change, and just got to let them, because you can't control the
Yeah.
situation. Just got to let them. And complaining about it isn't going to change the situation. It's just only going to make you more aggravated. So Don't complain. Change what you can, and just let them.
Like a great book for pageantry in particular. I'll have to look that one up.
Oh,
Question 5. What sound or noise do you love?
ooh, I like cats purring. That's my noise that I like. Mhm.
I like putting my cat over my shoulder just to hear him
Yeah.
purr and you hold him like real close and just like this really really soothing noise. Number 6. What sound or noise do you hate?
Uh, Probably chewing, breathing. Like if like someone is a loud breather, if I get like, for example, when I'm doing our exams in law school, like you can't help breathing, so it's like I can't really be that annoyed with it. Like, don't breathe. Like, okay, just like I can't say that, but um. Oh, you know what? I have a better one. Typing when it's not my typing. So my typing is fine. I can listen to my keys click all day long. I'm like, this is wonderful. If somebody else is typing, I can't focus on anything but the noise of the typing. And one of my really good girlfriends in law school, she had a very clicky keyboard on her laptop. And we were taking our towards final, or maybe it was our contracts final. She went to sit next to me. I said, in the most loving and respectful way, you cannot sit by me during this exam. I was like, or else I will move. Love you, but your computer is too loud. I will not focus. I can't hear. I can't read. All I hear is your keyboard. Like, with love and respect, like we cannot sit by each other. So that is my answer. I do not like the sound of other people's keyboards when I'm trying to focus.
Well, you won't want to be anywhere near me because I literally have a mechanical keyboard because I love the clicking sound. So I probably have the world's loudest keyboard. So yeah, I'll stay away from typing. Number 7. What if you could have any one superpower? What would you pick and why?
Teleportation for sure. That's like the best superpower in my opinion. Nothing tops that. I mean, I want to be able to travel the world, and it's so expensive. And I there's so many places I want to see that I haven't been able to. And also, I'm busy, and how much time would I save taking out commuting, and I could just pop from place to place. Teleportation. I hope that they invent that somehow and create technology for that while I'm alive. That would be awesome.
I can say, coming from Australia, yep, amen to that. I would certainly go with that.
Yes, and then we can meet each other. We could just teleport. How awesome would that be? I could just be there right now doing this interview in person.
I love doing interviews in person, but it's just no one lives here. So, not in pageant land anyway. So you got to do what you got to do. Number 8. What job other than your own would you most like to attempt?
Hmm. Do I have to be good at it? That's the question.
You can be rubbish at it. You can want to sing, and what you're singing raises the dead.
Okay, so if I just miraculously was good at this, I would love to be an artist, like a painter, someone that was like commissioned, where they're like, "Can you please paint XYZ?" I've just always had an appreciation for people who can create something out of nothing, and it's like I can do that with words. I cannot do that visually. I am the worst. And I've always wanted to be able to do that. I even watched YouTube videos like trying to teach myself. It just doesn't click. I mean, I feel like you either have it or you don't, and I don't have it. But if I could, I would love to be an artist. I think that would be so fun.
I think I'd give you a run for your money in terms of worst artist. I never graduated past stick figures. Like that. That's about as. I think my art skills got stuck about the age of 2. I don't think I've ever improved. In fact, I could be worse now because I
Literally.
can't draw to save my life. Anyway, number 9. What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
Anything with medicine, med school, surgeon. Much appreciation for the work that they do. And I know it's very difficult, and I am just, that's interesting. Now that I say that out loud, I was gonna say blood and all that stuff. That's not really my vibe. And I'm in the homicide unit as a public defender. So maybe that is my vibe. I don't know because I see that stuff at work all the time. So that's interesting. Um, maybe, yeah, but before that was always my answer because I was like, I don't know if I could handle like cutting somebody open and stuff. And I still feel like that's a lot of pressure. You know, someone's life is in your hands. But I have a case where someone's on death row, so someone's life is still in my hands. So I don't know anymore. I don't have an answer. Try everything. Try all jobs. Try everything.
I feel like you just learned something about yourself in the process of answering that question. Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the
Well
pearly
done.
gates?
Well done. Well done. I mean, yeah, just well done. And I do believe in heaven. And I also, I don't know if this is, I mean, nobody knows obviously until you die. But I want to hear well done, and then I want to see my cats, my old cat Snow. And I don't know if pets are in heaven, but I like to believe that they are. And he was a very special friend to me for most of my life, and I would like to see him like running up to me at the gates, and I could just hold him again. And that's what I visualize heaven like.
They'd better have pets up there, otherwise I'm going to be very upset. Assuming I ever make it up there. But if
Oh,
they don't have it, I'll probably have to go somewhere else because I want my cats back. I'm just saying, being completely honest. Um,
oh,
well,
thriller.
Victoria, it's been a pleasure. Second time around. Thank you so much for coming on.
Adrian, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful that you asked me to come on again. I always have a wonderful time with you. Adrian has hundreds of interviews, so go and listen to them, especially if you're new to pageantry and you're wanting to try it out and try something new. Good for you. This is a great place to start. He has a lot of great resources. He does coaching as well, more mindset interview based coaching, not necessarily much as walking. You know, we're like a team. Like you can come from me for walking.
Do not come to me for walking. I can
Come to
barely
you for
walk.
walking. Go to Adrian for mindset and all the good stuff. But no, so this is a great resource for you. And if you're already listening to this, like, good for you. Great place to start. You'll learn a lot from the pageant project.
I need to hire you not as my defendant, but as my marketing person, because you say what I do better than I do. So thank you for that. I should clip that out and put that up somewhere. But I'm going to hang up now, but I'll keep you on the line for just a sec. Thanks to everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now.